Got to go this route. This route allows us to do something a little different. Okay, that's much better now. All right, Shabbat Shalom, family. Shalom, bang. Shalom, 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 Isha. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. What I want to do, well, first I want to take questions. If there's any questions, we'll address any questions that may be in the room. And if there are no questions, we're going to read out of the book of Daniel. Okay? So all of you who are in the listening audience, if you're watching, you have to let us know that you're watching in order for your questions to be addressed that you may have. I had a very interesting conversation today with an elder. We went to visit an elder a little earlier. Very interesting conversation with him today. He spoke a lot about Israel and the future of our people. He spoke a lot about loyalty and honor and trust and just remaining loyal to the Most High's word. And not enough of us today do those types of things. He put a distinguishing point on it. He distinguished Jacob from Israel. He said a lot of us are Jacob and not enough of us are Israel, which is a big difference. There's a big difference between Jacob and Israel. He described Jacob as the average person. The person go to the clubs, the speakeasy, the person smoked the marijuana. This was his description of Jacob. But then he put an Israelite man, he put the Israelite man as the man who worships the Creator, who walks after the ways of the Almighty. I thought that was very, very, very good how he did that. I thought it was wise. We're gonna continue on. So if there are any questions, you guys can just post your questions in the room, and we'll try to address your questions as I see them arise in the room. Then he put the Israelite man in a different place, different category. He put the Israelite man as those who are about the Most High's truth, those who are really trying to learn about the Most High and walk after the Most High with all that they have. This gentleman's name was Elder Shalomo. Elder Shalomo also went and elaborated a little bit on the difference between a teacher and people who wasn't called to teach. Now, in his distinguishing between those two, I mean, you know, if we go by the book, we have to accept and understand what it is that he's speaking on. According to the scriptures, only the Levites were supposed to teach the Most High's people. Only the Levites. But now you know, as I do, today we have a lot of people teaching the Most High's people. This is a prime ingredient that we have today that's causing us a problem in the development of our nation, is that we are not following the format that the Creator has put out. We are following the format of our captors in this captivity, or basically anything that we come up with, we follow in that order, but we don't follow the format that the Creator has put on record for us to abide by. You know, when you read in the book of Ezra, we had in place a Levitical priesthood, and those priests, as the Most High said, was teaching and instructing the people. Now today we have a lot of people who, especially since the introduction of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and things of that nature and YouTube, since we have the introduction of those things, we have a lot of people that just pop up and want to teach the Most High's people. I myself am out of the tribe of Yahudah. I get a special privilege because Dawid, he wore both an ephod and a crown. So Dawid, the house of Dawid, had a ability to do certain things that only the priesthood was allowed to do. So I'm going to slide in under the radar and accept that as my fate, and while I'm able to teach the word of the Creator. But I do understand and recognize the significance of us having a Levite to do a lot of the, I would say most of, if not all of the teachings of the Most High's truth. Because we do have to align ourselves with what the Creator said for us to do, and not what we in our hearts feel led to do because someone has given us the opportunity or the platform to do it. So I'll ask again before I move on. Are there any questions in the room? If you have any questions, just type your questions in the room, and then I'll have access to your questions from the room, and I can answer them, Creator willing. Dwayne, Shabbat Shalom. May the Most High be with you all. All right? So until I see some questions pop up, I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to get into the 9th chapter of the book of Daniel. Now, Daniel is a very interesting book. Daniel is a book where okay, before I get into Daniel's question that popped up, the brother Dwayne is asking, was Cain the seed of Abel? Well, I don't think you're asking your question correctly. Abel was Cain's brother. If that's what your question is, was Cain the seed of Abel? The answer is no. Abel and Cain and Abel were brothers, twin brothers. And a lot of people don't know that, but Cain and Abel were twin brothers. And if you look in the scriptures, I believe that's in, wow, it's been that long. I believe it's in Genesis, the 4th chapter. I believe we can find there and see the difference when Cain and Abel stepped on the scene. Let's go there. Genesis, the 4th chapter. Genesis, the 4th chapter. See, if I had some help here, things would go a lot differently. But I'm in it to win it all by myself today. Don't call me selfish. Just call me determined. I'm determined to see the will of the Most High get done. It says, and Adam knew Eve, his wife. It says, was Adam in Genesis, the 4th chapter, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a male from the Creator. And she again bare his brother, Abel. See, the milieu, that's to feel. What she did was, she never got out of that process of childbearing before she had the next child. She had one, and therefore directly after that, she had another one. And you read it in Hebrew, it says the same thing. And for a lot of people, we didn't know, and we don't know even to the day, that Cain and Abel were twin brothers. Okay? All right. So I guess that's the sum total of that question. I lost my place. I got to go back to Daniel's, the 9th chapter. We're going to start in Daniel's, the 9th chapter. We're going to read. Okay, I have another question. How do we know when a true prophet or prophetess is among us? How do we know when a true prophet or prophetess is among us? Well, one thing is, you got to be aware of many false prophets. Now, a false prophet will come teaching and performing miracles, and he will capture your attention. He will excite you and have you believing that he can't be from anyone else. He must be from the Creator. Only the Creator could have sent him, because the things that he's teaching actually are coming to pass. It's not necessarily true. A lot of times the Most High will send someone in your midst and allow that individual to bring forth great things that you're not accustomed to in your life, but that individual might have a smooth mouth. He might have very much charisma in his approach as he walks. But what the difference is that this individual, and he will perform, oftentimes according to the law, he will perform things that everyone else cannot do. Okay? He will perform these types of tasks. But he will also begin to lead you and teach you to serve a deity other than your service to the Creator. That's the difference in a true prophet of the Almighty and a false prophet of the Almighty. Another thing is that a prophet of the Almighty will speak in the Most High's name, whereas a false prophet of the Almighty will either speak in his own name, somebody else's name, but he really won't mention the name of the Almighty, being the one who has given him his source and his energy, and that he's speaking the words of the Creator. Now you can find a reference to this and what I'm speaking of in the book of Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter. So let's turn there, everybody. Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter. Now the question on the floor was, how do you know the difference between a true prophet of the Almighty and a false prophet of the Almighty? There will be many people who will come in your midst with the ability to teach, to lead, to prophesy even, and to perform miracles and great things. But that individual will lead you astray and have you worshiping someone other than the Almighty. Does that sound familiar, family? So don't think that people coming in here talking to you and teaching you about the Creator just because they can do things that other people can't do is all about the Most High's business. We're going to read Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter, the first verse. The Most High says, if there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and they giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder comes to pass. So yes, they were able to perform these things that everybody else couldn't do. They said it was going to be a certain way. They said it was going to happen on a certain day. They said it's going to happen at a certain time. And guess what? It happened. And what Israel does a lot is Israel see things like this and we run off and we combine ourselves with these individuals because they got to be of the Creator. Not necessarily. They don't have to be of the Creator. Watch what the Most High says. He says, verse 2, Deuteronomy 13, verse 2. And the sign or the wonder comes to pass. Wherefore he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. See, a lot of these deities that people serve today, our forefathers knew nothing of them. Never heard of them. Never could even imagine them. But today we want to incorporate the teachings of this deity worship into our teachings of the Almighty. Because we have seen things that has happened in that when we were walking in that way. Or this individual happened to have done something that we haven't seen happen in Israel in many years. So that power that they're talking about got to be the real power, or got to be the one, that messenger got to be sent from the Creator. So that means the Creator want me to believe in, because it's this great big secret. And we began to follow and walk after this individual, worshiping these images and these idols, primarily Christianity, the Christian deity. A lot of our people leave Christianity, but they hold on to that deity. They give him another name, change the color of his skin, and now he wants to be accepted. This is what the Father's telling you. He says in the 2nd chapter, and the sign and the wonder comes to pass, wherefore he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. This is what the Father says, Deuteronomy 13:3. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, for the Creator your Elohim tests you. He proves you. He tries you because he wants to know if you are worthy. Family, we always got to return back to Jeremiah 6:16. Turn back into the ways of old, in the paths of old, for in them your feet shall have rest. Okay? He says, ye shall not walk after the Creator your Elohim, and ye shall walk after the Creator your Elohim and fear him. So when that prophet or that dreamer of dreams come to you and he says, see, I healed your body. I caused you to have sight when you were blind. I took away the disease out of your flesh. You said you needed wealth. I gave you great wealth. Now I'm going to teach you the truth of the one who gave me this ability, and they lead you to another deity. To a deity, because the Creator is not a deity. They lead you into deity worship, and you actually believe these things. This is very easy to be done in this day and time when the people are asking for a sign. The Creator says he allowed these things to happen just to test you, to see if you loved him or if you love man. The Father lets us know what he's doing with us if we are to listen. For ye shall walk after the Creator your Elohim and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death. So anybody come to you in reality teaching you to worship anyone other than the Most High, the Creator of all creation, the Father of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yisrael, anyone coming to you telling you to worship any other power, the Creator says that that individual is supposed to be put to death for trying to lead you astray to worship anyone other than the Almighty. Okay? Deuteronomy 13:5. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he hath spoken to turn you away from the Creator, your Elohim. Now, I need to talk to you because this is very important. That was a very good point she brought up today. Thank you, Isha. A lot of us are turned away from the Most High from our own family members. It might be a husband, it might be a wife. A lot of us are turned away from the Creator from the people within our own home. It might be your mother. It could even be your father. A lot of us believe that these things that they do and say and perform, it comes to pass sometimes, and we begin to let down our guard a little bit about our worship of only one power, and we start to gravitate toward what they say, or we'll back away from what the Most High says, and we're really like in a state of not knowing. The Father is saying that these things are done so that he can test you, to know where your mind is toward him. If it doesn't talk about the Most High, if it doesn't say, thus saith the Creator, if they don't come in the name of the Creator, then there is no truth in them. All right? I want to deal with that issue. Dwayne, I see you, and I'll jump on that in a second. And if I don't answer that, then you let me know again, and then I'll backtrack and do it. I want to finish this first question up because it's so important. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or the son of thy daughter, or the wife of your bosoms, or your friend, Yeshaya, you hear that? Or your friend, which is as thy own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve another deity, another power, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are around about you. And we got a lot of the powers of gods of the people that are around about us today. Near or far from thee, from the ends of the earth even unto the other ends of the earth, thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thy eye pity him, Neither shall thou spare, neither shall thou conceal him. That means don't try to hide him, don't try to protect him. He must be exposed so that his treachery, his idolatry, and him trying to lead you astray from the Most High will be dealt with. Now, if our people really abided by that command in the ancient days, chances are we wouldn't be in this condition that we're in today. You can read the rest of that whenever you get a chance. There's one more scripture I want to bring out. Deuteronomy 18 and 15. Deuteronomy 18 and 15 is showing and verifying the fact that everybody that comes in the name of the Most High to you, any prophet that comes to you, shall come to you in the name of the Creator. Any prophet that comes to you. The Most High says in Deuteronomy 18 and 15, the Creator thy Elohim will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren. First of all, that prophet for you will be of the seed of Israel. He would have to be of the seed of Israel. Most of the prophets, I'm not saying all of the prophets, but most of the prophets were all Levites. From the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Now this is Moshe saying that this prophet that will come will be like unto him. And unto him ye shall hearken. Deuteronomy 18 and 16. According to all that thou desires of the Creator thy Elohim in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let us not hear again the voice of the Creator my Elohim, neither let us see this great fire any more, that I die not. If you want to see that part where you did this, you can look in the law, in the book of the law, in Exodus the 20th chapter. It's somewhere around the 15th, 16th, 17th verse. Somewhere around there in Exodus the 20th chapter, we actually said that we didn't want to hear the voice of the Creator anymore. So he began to work with us through prophets and through messengers, through visions and dreams. Okay? With verse 17. And the Creator your Elohim said unto me, that ye have well spoken that which ye have spoken. Here it is. He says, verse 18, Deuteronomy 18 and 18, the Most High promises us, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, Moses, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. This is why when you read in the book of the prophets, a lot of places it says, and the Creator said to me, and thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Creator, and Elohim spoke these words, saying, these are all the things that testify that the Most High have sent this prophet unto the nations. So my question would be, when you look in the Quran, do you see thus saith the Creator? When you look in the New Testament, do you see, and the Creator spoke these words, saying? Do you see anywhere in the New Testament where the Creator speaks? See, because the Most High is saying, this is how you know when I have sent a prophet in your midst. And you are only supposed to obey the words of a prophet to serve the Creator. This is how you learn to serve the Creator, through the words and the teachings of a prophet. Or if he visits you in visions and dreams, and that possibly means that you could be a prophet. But you can't go to a book written by a man who wrote letters from one person to another person, and that person not a prophet, and you just follow it because society says it's holy. That's not how we do these things. That's not how the Most High has set it up. Remember when I began this class, I began to say, you have to realign yourself with the way in which the Most High said things is supposed to be done. Not according to your own desires, and definitely not according to the desires of man. Okay? And I shall cause, and it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, thus saith the Creator, he says, I will require it of him. I will hold him accountable. But then he says, but the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, in the name of gods, even that prophet shall die. So you don't have to go around and fight battles. The Most High fights his own battles. He deals with those who have betrayed him and tries to deceive the Most High's people. When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Creator, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Creator has not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously of himself. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. Okay? So I pray that answers that question. So that would be the end of that portion there of you knowing when it is that we have a prophet in the midst of us. I had a guy the other day, not too long ago, told me he was a prophet. You know, because I posted it on my page. The brother sat up there and said he was a prophet. So I asked the brother, I said, whoa, brother. Because I'm not going to tell nobody they're not. If somebody say they are something, I'm going to accept it at that. At your word, I'm going to accept it. But I'm going to ask for verification and proof. So I asked the brother, I said, all right, brother, you're a prophet. I'm not going to say you're not. But this is what I want you to do to prove to me that you're a prophet. I said, send me the lottery numbers for the next 2 draws on the Powerball. To the next 2 Powerball draws. Because when I get it, I hit it, then I know a prophet has been in our midst. The brother cussed me out and defriended me. He cut me off from his friendship, and he don't want to talk to me no more. But I think it's only right, you know, when someone comes in the name of the Most High, if they come in the name of the Most High, make them verify what it is that they say. The next question that I remember being in a room, and my sister was just up there speaking. I want to address her issue. Oh, that's you. I didn't know that was you, babe. Thought that was somebody else. Okay, I'm going to address that in a moment. Thought that was somebody else bringing something up. Don't matter. So, the next question that was in the room that was asking of me was, what do I believe in the book of Enoch? How do I feel about the book of Enoch? You know, that's a very, very important subject, because the book of Enoch and the book of Jasher, these books has been popping up all over the place now. I don't subscribe to those books. I don't subscribe to them at all. And I don't subscribe to them for various reasons. I'm researching everything now. I'm going to do a lesson on that in a moment. Moray Yoel has told me that he's already wrote a book, I believe it is, on that issue. So I've already started my research some time ago to address that issue of the book of Enoch and the book of Jasher. And when I finish my research, I'm going to address it and bring forth a lesson. But I'm going to tell you what I have learned so far in the research of the book of Enoch and Jasher. The book of Enoch does not go back to our historical days of old. It goes back maybe 100 BC, a version of it. But they don't have it in its full version. It's fine. Let me continue. They have a portion of it, and I believe it's written in Greek. And it goes back to around 100 BC. This is the information that I've been finding out so far. And BC standing before Common Era. Now, in 1947, they discovered what they have as the Dead Sea Scrolls. And a copy of the, so they say, a copy of the book of Enoch, supposed to have been, a version of it, was supposed to have been found intermingled in with the Dead Sea Scrolls, and a copy of the book of Jasher in 1947. Here's my problem. The Dead Sea Scrolls was found in 1947. But the Dead Sea Scrolls wasn't released to the public until 50 years later. See, that's a problem for me. Within that 50 years, the adversary had his opportunity to do whatever he wanted to do to the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, if they wanted to make this information public, then all they would have to do is get a translator. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls was written in Hebrew and a little bit of Aramaic. They found a little small portion written in Greek, a little small portion. But the majority of it was written in Hebrew and Aramaic. And Hebrew, both Hebrew and Aramaic, are the languages of our forefathers. So all they had to do, if they really wanted us to know this thing, was to just get somebody to copy it down for us or translate it for those who can't speak Ivrit or the Aramaic. They just needed somebody to translate it word for word, verbatim, and put it in English and submit it to the public. But it took them 50 years to do whatever they had to do with it. I don't trust them. I'm sorry, but I just can't accept it. I can't accept it. It doesn't take that long to translate Hebrew the way we have Hebrew scholars working out here today. I mean, even I can read the ancient Hebrew. You know, I can read it and write it and speak a little bit of it. I can do that. So if they gave someone similar to myself, it wouldn't take us 50 years to translate those writings. Now, they did find a substantial amount of them, but it still wouldn't take 50 years because they can assign 50 men to translate each portion and just write it down verbatim, what they have from those languages until what we would have today. But they didn't do that. It took them 50 years to add, to twist, and to do their thing to it. Not only that, but the Dead Sea Scrolls has a lot of things pertaining to the Greek writings within them, which means the New Testament within them, talking about some things that is unlike the Most High, has nothing to do with the Most High. So the Dead Sea Scrolls is nothing that I would put a whole lot of trust and effort into accepting this. The Book of Enoch is definitely not something that I would put a whole lot of effort into in accepting. A lot of these books come from a Christian background, a Christian author, a Christian promotion type of thing. Remember I taught you a while ago about the Pentateuch, and the Pentateuch is the first 5 books written in Greek. And I also took you about the, what's the other one? The 70, Septuagint. And the Septuagint was written when they had our forefathers at spear point, 70 of our elders at spear point, and made them translate from the ancient language into the Greek language. Okay? The Greek then took the book, kept it in Greek, and put it out for the public to see, to understand, to visualize, and read. And a lot of the versions of the Bible that we use today are translated from the Septuagint and not translated from the original Hebrew. Okay? So these are a lot of things that you need to learn, because you have to be wise and you have to be well versed in these things in order to have understanding of these things. All right, so true. We have to abide by his laws to have a better life, and we must uphold our brothers and sisters to do so as well. Very good. Yes, we do. And you have to be understanding also, because a lot of people won't have the ability to understand as easy as you. A lot of people won't have that ability. The Most High hasn't blessed everyone with that ability. So as the Most High brings his blessings upon people, people will wake up. You know, I always hear about the remnant, the remnant, the remnant. A lot of people talk about the remnant of the Most High. Well, when I look around today, Christianity is the majority. Christianity isn't a remnant. Islam, the fastest growing religion in today's world, is a majority. Islam is not a minority. It's not a remnant. So when the Most High speaks of his remnant, he may be talking about those who don't accept idolatry on any level, which means Shema Yisrael, the Creator, your Elohim, the Creator is one. You know, we don't understand these principles when it says that the Most High is one. He's only one. And we try to make him multiple. And that's where we err A lot of us. That's where we err and make our mistakes. But I'm not pointing fingers. If that's where you at right now, then so be it. You're still my brother, and we still got a lot of building to do. May the Most High help you and help me so that we can all come together one day and be able to worship together as a people. Okay? Are there any more questions in the room? Are there any more questions in the room? Did I miss anyone? All right, I think I may have all the questions. I think I may have them all covered. All right. So I'm going to move forward. If you have a question, just type your question in the room and then create a will, and if I have an opportunity to answer it, I will answer it. Okay? All right. We're going to go back to the book of Daniel's. Daniel's, the 9th chapter. Daniel's, the 9th chapter. You know, Daniel's is a very interesting book. Daniel was a man who was even his old age. He went into captivity as a very young man. He was gifted in all the skills of art, intelligence, and the mysticism world. He was skilled in all those things because he was of the nobility order, which means that his father was someone in rank. His family was a family of prestige. These men who had prestige and honor in Israel, they raised their children a certain way, and Daniel was one of these children. Actually, all 4 of them young boys was men of honor, men of renown. They were young men, but they were learning. They were skilled in many wisdoms. They wasn't just a foolish men. They were so skilled and talented that the king took them into captive and brought them into his castle, per se, into his government. And Daniel had a job in the government all of his days, from his youth. And when he wrote the book of Daniel, somewhere around this chapter, he's supposed to have been around 90-something years old. You know, he's supposed to have been somewhere in that area when he wrote this book. In the 9th chapter, I'm speaking of. All right, now I want to start in the 9th chapter of the book of Daniel because I don't see any questions in the room. Now, keep in mind, the children of Israel, Daniel and his 3 brothers, are all in captivity in Babylon at this time. They're in Babylon. And they're all reigning. Initially, it started off with Nebuchadnezzar. He was the king that took them into captivity. And then it went to his son, Nebuchadrezzar. He took them into captivity. And then the Medo-Persians came in, and they conquered the city and took it over. And Darius, I believe it was then the king. Darius came in, and Darius did some things. So this is going to pick up off of Darius. In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus. Now Darius is the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. You remember the history with the handwriting on the wall? When Daniel had to come in and translate the handwriting on the wall, when they had went and took, when the king had a feast, Nebuchadrezzar had a feast. I want to say that was another king, but I can't think of his name, so I'm going to go with my mind. That was Nebuchadrezzar at the time. He had a feast, and he told his people to bring out the royal cups that they took out of the temple of Jerusalem, the chalices and things that we use to give up offerings to the Creator. And when he did that, the handwriting appeared on the wall, and then that night the Medo-Persian Empire came in and ransacked the city and killed that king, and then we have Darius ruling over, taking over everything, and that's where we are now. Okay? So I'm going to start at Daniel's 9th chapter, verse 2 now. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by book the number of years, wherefore the word of the Creator came to Jeremiah the prophet, So at this time, Daniel was doing exactly what we were doing today, what we're doing. And what we're doing is we're using the books to teach us and to lead us in different understandings of the prophets that came before us to teach the truth to us. So Daniel were understanding and studying the words of Jeremiah the prophet. Remember, Jeremiah was the prophet that was prophesying when Daniel went into captivity. Jeremiah prophesied and saw with his eyes as the people was led into captivity. He says that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. And I set my face unto the Creator to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting, sackcloth, and ashes. Now, oftentimes we read past things that are vitally important for our development as a nation. I choose not to do those things. We have to be careful because the Most High put things in scriptures for us as a people to learn how to elevate. Daniel, one of the greatest prophets of Israel, is letting us know how he sought information, how he sought direction from the Creator. These are some of the things that we should learn to incorporate in our lives to help us in our time of trouble, in our time of confusion, in our moments of darkness. Watch what he did. He says, I set my face unto the Creator, my Elohim, to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. He didn't just pray. He put sackcloth and ashes. Sackcloth is a material that when you put it up against the flesh, it scratches the flesh. It makes the flesh very uncomfortable. We used to do that on the Day of Atonement. When the Day of Atonement came around and we would fast to the Almighty, I went out to the shipyard out here and they had what they call potato sacks. The potato sacks is made out of sackcloth. It's the closest thing that I was able to find to get to close to sackcloth. Those potato sacks, we used to cut holes in the head, holes in the arms, and we would wear those. That's what Daniel is saying he did. He calls his body affliction, his flesh he calls affliction. His spirit he calls affliction when he fasted. He didn't eat. He says, I set my face unto the Creator, my Elohim, to seek by prayer and supplications was with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. So he also smeared ashes all over his face to give him an appearance that he would not be attractive. You know how a lot of us, man, we go out somewhere, we go to work, we want to look good. So we wash our face, we brush our teeth, we take a shower, we comb our hair, and we put on our turban, our kufi, our scarf, our wrap if you're a female. However you do it to look good for the world. Well, Daniel said, I'm on a different mission. And being on this mission, I'm seeking what the Most High has for me. So what he did was he put ashes all over his face. This is a secret, family. Something that we don't know that's sitting right in front of our face and how we can get closer to this king. He put ashes all over his face. He put on sackcloth and ashes. And that affected his body, his physical body. But he also sustained from food, which affected his spiritual. It would release his spirituality. It's something about not having food that causes the mind to travel and be able to travel in a different realm than when it's satisfied with food. Daniel is telling us how he did it. And these are some of the things that we should incorporate in our practices in trying to get closer to the Creator. He says, and I prayed unto the Creator, my Elohim, and I made confession. There you go, family. We don't do that enough. Before you ask anything of the Creator, before you ask for anything because you need something, acknowledge to the Most High that you're unclean. I know that I'm unclean. And a lot of people would ask me that question when I say when I pose in a room that before you go to the Most High, you must ask for permission to approach him. And the reason is because we're in an unclean condition. Daniel understood that he was in an unclean condition. He lived in the midst of an unclean people. He lived in an unclean nation. So when he went to the Most High, he didn't start saying, Creator, give me, give me, give me. Or Creator, do this. Or Creator, destroy my enemies. Or Creator, put them underneath my feet and let me rise. What he did, the first thing he did, that he says he did, was he made confession to the Creator. He acknowledged his transgressions. He acknowledged his condition. He says, and made confession and said, O Creator, the great and dreadful Elohim. Wow. The great and dreadful Elohim. He's setting the Most High apart from all the other Elohim. He says, keeping thy covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to them that keep his commands. He's setting the Most High on high. He's thanking the Most High and giving the Most High his props. He called the Most High the great and dreadful Elohim, who keeps the covenant that he made with those who love him. What does he say? He says, we have sinned, and we have committed iniquity. We are unclean, Father, and this we know. And have done wickedly, and have rebelled even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgment. He says, neither have we hearkened unto thy servants the prophets, which spake in thy name to our kings, to our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. Now notice how he said that these prophets spoke in the Most High's name. They didn't speak in their own name. You know what I mean? They didn't come with letters that they wrote to a nation of people or an individual and don't say that the Most High sent them. That's how you know when a prophet is in your midst and that prophet speaks in the name of the Most High. Okay? He says, verse 7, Daniel chapter 9, verse 7. O Creator, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces as it is this day. Now this was written thousands of years ago, and we still are confused in our faces. We don't know what we're doing. That's why we can't come together. That's why so many of us have a different fraction of understanding how to serve the Creator. And our houses are divided. You know, something else the brother talked about today, he says that the first rule of thought, and this is something that we teach all the time, we post it in the room all the time. The first rule of thought is that a man must be able to run or govern himself first. He has to have himself under control before he can stand out and do anything for anyone or anyone else. If he doesn't have himself in control, he can't help anything. A man or a spiritual leader or a teacher, he must first govern himself and understand himself. After he understands and governs himself, then he has to run his household and have his household running in a certain order. When you're rising to a level of excellence with the Creator and you've made that journey and that decision to serve him to the best of your ability and you've given him all of you in sincerity, those people in your household that choose to do wickedly or evil, the Most High will find a way to remove them from your life so that you can move on in your mission, so that your house is in order. When you have gotten yourself, your physical temple in order, then you've gotten your house in order, then you can go out into the world and get the world in order, which means that you can teach other people how to serve this King. If you don't have those things in order, you can't teach nobody nothing. How is somebody going to sit up and listen and learn from you and you can't even run your own household? Or if you got the same bad habits and traits that they have, how are they going to learn? You smoke weed just like they smoke weed. You drink liquor just like they drink liquor. You chasing after the girl with the big booty shorts on just like they chasing after the girl with the big booty shorts on. If you don't put a distinction between holy and profane, then how are you going to stand before the Most High's people and lead the people to the Most High? See, Daniel understood that. Daniel understood that a lot of our people, we were full of sin and evil and wickedness, and that we needed to be cleansed. And that our sins was what he described as a confusion of faces. That's how Daniel described it, as a confusion of faces. And unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespasses that they have trespassed against thee. Now I want to read that one more time, just so I can share with you all a greater understanding of what the Most High is saying. I'm in Daniel's, the 9th chapter, verse 7. It says, O Creator, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces as it is this day. To the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither you have driven them because of their transgressions, their trespasses, that they have trespassed against thee. We are in this land of our captivity because we have trespassed against the Creator, our King. We don't get into this land or this condition and then decide, I'm no longer going to keep the laws of the Creator. So I'm going to close the book and turn the laws away, and I'm going to do what I have to do because I'm in a land of captivity and I'm in survival mode. That's not how the Father works. The Father don't work that way. The Creator wants us to keep His laws, His statutes, His commands, no matter where we are, even in our land of captivity. Daniel was keeping the Most High's laws even in the land of captivity. So don't allow anyone to come to you and tell you anything different about keeping the laws of the Most High. If we don't have to keep the laws of the Most High, then how will the Most High judge us, whether we're wicked or evil, or just profane in any way? How will He judge and consider us to be righteous or holy or upstanding in any way? What would be the difference between the two if there's no measuring rod to measure us by? That's where the laws of the Most High sit in. We have to hold fast and keep the instructions of the Almighty. Torah is the teachings. The Most High says that He will give these for us. We will utilize these things in the sight of all the nations so that they will know that there is a power within us. It will be a portion of our wisdom and our understanding in the sight of the nations, that Torah. And we have to keep the Torah no matter where we are. But a lot of people teach you that you don't. In verse 8, O Creator, to us belongeth confusion of faces, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers. Why? Because we have sinned against thee. To the Creator our Elohim belongeth mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against Him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Creator our Elohim to walk in His laws, which He set before us by His servants the prophets. Yea, all of Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of Elohim, because we have sinned against Him. And He has confirmed His word, which He has spake against us, and against our judges that judges us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heavens has not been done as has been done upon Yerushalayim. No other nation have seen the suffering and the calamity like the nation of Israel, like we have suffered. No other nation has seen devastation on a level like we have seen devastation at the hand of the Almighty, and all because we would not obey His voice. We wanted to bring in, the main problem is we want to bring in other deities in our service of worshiping Him. And He keeps saying, there isn't but one. and there is none to my right nor to my left. He said, there is none beside me. That's to the right or the left. There's none beside the Most High. He alone is worthy of our praise. Verse 11. Yea, all is, verse 12. And he has confirmed his word, which he spake against us and against our judges that judges us, by bringing upon us this great evil. From under the whole heaven has not been done as has been done upon Jerusalem, as it is written in the law of Moses. All this evil is come upon us, yet made we not our prayers before the Creator, our Elohim, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth. Daniel is saying that even in the midst of all this calamity and wickedness and punishment, even in all of that, we did not turn to the Most High, ask forgiveness, seek his face, turn from our wicked ways, and begin to keep his laws. We didn't do all of that, but yet we expect something from the Creator. Therefore has the Creator watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For the Creator our Elohim is righteous in all his works which he doeth. For we obeyed not his voice. Even in our captivity, we have not obeyed the voice of the Almighty. And now, O our Elohim, that has brought thy people forth out of the land of Mitzrayim with a mighty hand, and has gotten thee renown as this day, we have sinned. We have done wickedly. How many of you, family, will go unto the Most High or go before the Most High and confess your iniquities before the Almighty in this fashion? How many of us? How many of us actually submit ourselves to the will of the Most High like this and ask him, acknowledge our sins, and ask him to forgive us? And not just for yourself, but for the nation of Yisrael. We at Temple Kifarim pray 3 times a day at a minimum. 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and before you lay down and go to bed. We make that mandatory. And we also fast once a week, from Tuesday night at 12 o'clock till Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. We make that mandatory. We do that every week. And every day we fast, and every week we fast, and every day, 3 times a day we pray. 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and before we go to bed. We always allow the Most High to be into our minds, always. One of the customs that I have taught myself is that under my breath, you might see my lips moving sometimes. Well, I don't have a disorder. I've programmed my mind that even when I'm not consciously thinking about it, I'm thanking the Creator for whatever I can thank him for life, for strength, for health, for waking me up, for allowing me to do what I do, for allowing me to be who I am. The smallest little things I like to thank the Most High for. And then the biggest things they come to. But we also always have to be mindful to give praises to the Creator. So I have taught myself to give praises to the Creator without even necessarily thinking about it. So sometimes you'll see my lips move. That's what it is. Giving praises to this King. Always. Now therefore, Daniel's the 9th chapter, verse 17. Now therefore, O our Elohim, hear the prayers of thy servant and his supplication, and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary that is desolate, for the Creator's sake. O my Elohim, incline my ear and hear. Open thy eyes and behold our desolation, and the city which is called by thy name. For we do not present our supplications before thee for our righteousness, but for thy great mercies. O Creator, hear. O Creator, forgive. O Creator, hearken and do. Defer not for thy own sake, O my Elohim, for the city of thy people are called by thy name. For thy city and thy people are called by thy name. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sins and the sins of my people Yisrael, and presenting my supplications before the Creator, my Elohim, for the holy mountain, the Elohim, the mountain of my Elohim. This is very good. Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel. Now, Gabriel is an angel, but he came to him in the form of a man. Gabriel means man of El, man of the Creator. Gabriel, Gaber means man. El, Gabriel. That's the name Gabriel. Gabriel means man of Elohim. And here he describes Gabriel as a man. He says, even the man Gabriel, whom I have seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, he touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. So family, when you get a chance, you can read the rest of that. It's a very, very good story. Very, very good. That was Daniel's, the 9th chapter. I like to go over these things sometimes just to give us insight on a whole lot of things pertaining to our people and how we can get right with the Creator. It's very important that we do our very best to serve Him and to get right with Him at all times. Okay? Are there any questions? If there aren't any questions, we're going to close out this portion of our Shabbat day service and our teachings. So I'll give you all a few moments just to type in a room and see if there's anything that you all would like to have answered for those of us who are here. Are there any questions? And family, you can remember now, once this recording is over, you can still type your questions in a room. And when I read the questions, I'll have the opportunity to address you and type it in writing or contact you in an IM some kind of way to contact you so that we can further the questioning so that you have a full understanding. All right, I don't see anyone commenting at this time. So we're going to close out this portion of our lesson, our teaching. We pray that the Most High will be with you all, guide you all, protect you all, and strengthen you all. We give Him all the honor and praise and the utmost respect. We know that there is no power like unto the Creator, neither are there any works like unto His works. No, none. Ein kimoka abi, we ein kama aseika. There is no works like unto the Most High. So we thank Him. We give Him honor, praise, and glory now and forever. Toda Rabbah Yisrael. For being here today, for joining in, for coming in, and hearing what it is that the messenger of the Most High had to bring today. A servant of the Most High. Your servant unto you, the people of the Almighty. May the Most High be praised from everlasting to everlasting. Shabbat Shalom.